In today's video, I'm going to teach you exactly how you can invest in real estate even if you don't have any money in your bank account. Stay tuned. How's it going, everybody? My name is Ray Rodriguez. I am a real estate agent and a real estate investor out of Las Vegas, Nevada. I am also in the Future Flipper All-Star Coaching Program where I've learned everything I know about real estate investing. So today I really want to break down how you can start investing in real estate even if you don't have any money to your name. Now, when I talk about investing in real estate, I am primarily referring to flipping houses. Sure, you can go out there and buy rental properties even if you don't have any money in your bank account, but I would not recommend doing that for one simple reason. If you are able to get a good enough deal to go buy as a rental property and you don't have any money in your bank account, what happens if after a couple months of having a tenant in that property, the HVAC system goes out and you don't have the $5,000 in your bank account to go replace that unit? Things are gonna get really messy really fast with your tenant because you do not have the means to go fix that problem. So even though every strategy I'm gonna share in this video applies to both house flipping and rental property investing, I really do recommend you only start off with flipping houses, because if you don't have any money in your bank account, when things do go wrong with your rental property, you're not gonna have a way to fix those issues. So with that being said, how do you start flipping houses without having any money whatsoever? Well, there's really three ways that you can do so, and my goal is that by the end of this video, I will have done a good enough job explaining these strategies to you so that you can go out there and start flipping houses today and start making the amount of income that you want to make. So the first method that I want to teach you guys is actually a method that I learned from a well-respected finance guru who is Dave Ramsey. So the first thing you're going to do is, once you have those $0 in your bank account, all you need to do is go get a 9-to-5 job and start saving every single penny that you can so that you can finally have the cash to go out there and buy that first investment property. You're gonna work overtime, you're gonna work weekends, you're gonna work 80-hour weeks, and you're gonna do this every single day for the next 30, 40, or 50 years. And once 30 to 50 years go by, you will finally have the cash to go buy that property. Except you won't, because that property will be worth at least twice as much as what it is worth today. So all you'll have to do is go back to your boss and tell him you'll be working there for another 30 to 50 years, and then maybe you'll be able to buy that house. Except in another 30 to 50 years, you guessed it, that house will have doubled in value again, or we'll be dead. So who knows? But either way, we can just cheers to working at a 9-to-5 forever so we can go buy that first flip. And in case you're wondering how that drink tasted better than I deserve. All right, I'm gonna stop with the jokes because the only thing funny about me is that I'm funny looking. So let me cut all the nonsense out and let me get into the real ways that you can start flipping houses without having any money to your name whatsoever. So the real first way that you can start flipping houses without having any money whatsoever is through doing what is called a JV. Now, a JV stands for a joint venture, and a joint venture is fancy terminology for a partnership. So what does a partnership look like, and how exactly can you get yourself into some sort of partnership so that it is profitable for both parties? Typically, when you are doing a JV, this is how it works. One partner is going to bring all of the money and all of the experience. In case you didn't guess by now, you are not this partner. You don't have the money and you probably don't have the experience if you're watching a video on how to invest in real estate with no money down. The second partner, which is going to be you, is going to be the partner who brings the deal to the table. You're going to be the person who goes out there and finds a good investment for the both of you to be able to profit on. Now, I recently made a video detailing everything you need to know in order to go out there and find a good deal. I'll leave a link to that at the top of the description. Long story short, the hardest part about investing in real estate is finding a good deal. Let's say you find a house and you know that after doing a complete renovation to that property, it can sell for $500,000. Now, let's say in order to get that house to look brand new, you're gonna have to spend $50,000 fixing it up. In order for that house to be a good investment, you're gonna have to get that that property under contract for somewhere around $350,000. So you and the seller are going to agree to go into escrow at $350,000, and you know that you're gonna have to spend an additional 50 grand renovating the house once you have finally closed escrow on it. So in total, you have spent $400,000 knowing that this house can sell for $500,000 once it's been renovated. That is just a brief example of what a good investment looks like, and the reason I say that finding a deal is the hardest part about investing in real estate is because, as I'm sure you can imagine, it is not every day that you're gonna find someone with a $500,000 house who is willing to sell it to you for $350,000. So since you are the partner who has no money and no experience, you're gonna have to be the person who goes out there and hustles their butt off in order to go find that seller and get a contract to buy a $500,000 house for $350,000. Now, of course, I'm just using $500,000 as an example, but this could work with a $100,000 property or a $5 million property. Everything is all about percentages. So if you live in a market where a $500,000 house is unheard of, don't worry, it's just an example. Just keep in mind that it all comes down to percentages, and I talk about every single percent and number in that video that I mentioned earlier, which is linked in the description. So again, there's two partners in a JV, one person with the money and the knowledge, and the other person who brings the deal to the table. And in that video that I linked below, I also talk about how to find partners who have money and experience, so don't worry if you don't know anyone who has all this money. Now, once you brought the deal to the table and you've presented it to your partner, you guys are gonna agree on how you're going to split the profits. Now, if your partner is extremely experienced, I'm talking about someone who has done at least 50 flips, they are going to demand a higher profit split. A lot of times it could be 70-30 or 60-40. Whatever it is that you guys agree on is not the end of the world, because what matters most is that you're getting a deal done and you are turning your $0 into however much profit is going to be made. So for example, let's say you put a $350,000 house under contract, you guys spend 50 grand renovating it, and then you sell it for $500,000. After closing costs, realtor fees, and all of that stuff, you're gonna net somewhere around $60,000. Now, out of those $60,000, let's say you and your partner agree that you're only gonna get 30%. You're still going to make somewhere around $20,000 even though you brought $0 to the table. So you're gonna get rewarded for all of the work that you put in order to go find that $500,000 house for 350 grand. But putting your profit aside, the real money comes in the knowledge that you gain from partnering up with that investor. I would much rather partner up with an investor who has done a lot of deals and can teach me a lot, as opposed to partnering up with someone who has maybe flipped 1 or 2 houses and getting maybe a higher profit split, but in exchange, you're only learning from someone who has only done a couple of deals. I would much rather get the knowledge from someone who has done hundreds of deals and make a little bit less money, because I know that that knowledge is gonna make me a lot more money down the road. So in a nutshell, that is what a JV partnership looks like. One person brings the deal, the other person brings the money and the knowledge, and you guys agree on a certain amount of profit share. And again, there's a link in the description detailing exactly how you can find people with the money and the experience. So that's the first way that you can invest in real estate without having any money whatsoever. Now, what is the second way that you can invest in real estate? The second way is by what is called utilizing a private money lender. Now, a private money lender is going to be someone who you know in your sphere of influence. This could be a family member, a friend, or your friend who just robbed the bank, anybody who you know who has a lot of money and is willing to let you borrow it so that you can go out there and buy that house. Now, of course, there's got to be something in it for them, and a good example of something being in it for your lender is you paying them interest on the money that they are letting you borrow. So let's say you need $500,000 in order to go out there and buy your first house flip. You're gonna tell your private lender that you are willing to pay them a 12% annualized interest rate on their money. Basically, that comes out to 1% a month, so the private lender would be making $5,000 a month in passive income just for letting you borrow their money. Now, some private lenders will say, you know what, I am down to invest with you, but I don't want interest, I want to split the profits. They might want 50%, they might want 40 or 30%. I don't know what your private lender is going to want, but if that is the difference between you doing a deal and you not doing a deal, I would 100% just take their money, do the deal, split the profit with them. That way I made some money, they made some money, and I gained some knowledge along the way. But I will give you one huge warning before you go out there and do this. If this is one of your first videos that you've ever watched on investing in real estate, do not go out there and start borrowing people's money, because chances are you have no idea what you're doing and you're going to lose somebody's money and things can get really messy really quickly. Instead, I would recommend you join a coaching program like the one that I'm in at Future Flipper. I'll leave a link in the description, or you can send me a DM on Instagram if you're interested in joining. But at Future Flipper, they've taught me everything that I know about investing in real estate, and therefore I now know multiple people who are willing to let me borrow hundreds of thousands of dollars to go out there and invest in real estate. But seriously, do not go out there and start taking people's money if you don't know what you're doing, because I promise you there is a very good chance it is not going to end well. So those are the first two ways that you can go out there and invest in real estate without having any money. But I have a feeling that most people watching this do not know anybody who has a couple $100,000 just chilling underneath their mattress waiting for you to call them asking to borrow it. So what do you do if you're like most people and you don't know anyone who has a lot of money to let you borrow so that you can go out there and invest in real estate? Well, fortunately, you're not out of luck. Even if you don't know anyone with a couple $100,000, you can still invest in real estate without using any money of your own whatsoever. So that leads me to the third way to invest in real estate without using any of your own money, which is called gap funding. Let's say you need $250,000 in order to go buy your first house flip. There is something called a hard money lender, which is basically a professional company who specializes in letting people borrow money who want to use that money to go out there and flip houses or invest in real estate in general. So when you get a deal under contract, you can call a hard money lender and ask them to fund your deal. Now, there is a caveat to that, however. The hard money lender is only going to fund 80 to 90% of the total price that you need in order to go buy and renovate this property. So if you're following along, you're thinking, wait a second, these people are only going to let me borrow 80 to 90%. How do I come up with the other 10 to 20% in order to go do this deal? This is where the term gap funding comes into play. You are going to need to go find someone with the other 10 to 20% in order to go fund your deal. So let's say in this example, you need $250,000 in order to buy this property and do the renovations. The hard money lender says, all right, we like this investment. We think it is a good deal. We are going to give you 90% of the total price that you need to go buy this property. 90% of $250,000 is $225,000, which means that you need to find a way to come up with another $25,000 in order to put that as your down payment with the hard money lender. You look in your bank account and you're like, dang it, I don't have $25,000. That's why I'm watching a video on how to invest in real estate with no money. What you're gonna do is you need to go find someone in your sphere of influence who can let you borrow the $25,000. Now, of course, you're gonna pay that person a high interest rate in order to make it worth their while on letting you borrow their money. And the truth is, there are hundreds of thousands of people who have $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 in their bank account in today's economy, and it's not very difficult to go find somebody. You can ask your family members, you can ask your friends, you can join the coaching program that I'm in at futureflipper.com, link in the description, and I can guarantee you there are dozens and dozens of people in there who can let you borrow $25,000 to go do a deal. In fact, the most recent time that I met with the people at Future Flipper, someone came up to me and was like, hey Ray, I have $50,000. Can I invest with you in a deal? You can also join Facebook groups for real estate investors and ask people if they are willing to invest with you. Now, of course, you're gonna have to prove to these people that you've been doing your research on real estate investing and you're not just gonna go out there and take their money and have no idea what you're doing. But the point that I'm trying to make is, it is not very difficult to go find someone who has 10 to 20% of the amount you need to go buy this property. So once you've found that person who is willing to let you invest their money, you're gonna use their money to cover the gap between what the hard money lender is willing to let you borrow and what you need to buy the property. So again, if you need $250,000 and the hard money lenders are gonna say they can give you $225,000, you're gonna use your friend's $25,000 to cover the gap, and boom, there you go. Now you can invest in real estate. You'll pay everybody their interest rate. You'll keep the profits profits afterwards, and you're pretty much golden after that. Now, there's one thing that I want to make extremely clear. Every time I watch a video from some real estate investors talking about how you can go out there and flip houses with no money, I always see someone in the comment section complaining about how they don't know anyone with 25 grand. And the truth is, being a real estate investor is more so of a mentality than it is of anything else. I promise you, finding someone with $25,000 is not very hard. You might have to think outside the box a little bit, and you might have to put in some work, but I can guarantee you, if you have a good deal under contract, you will find someone with 25 grand or 50 grand or maybe even more who is willing to let you invest with them. Do not fall victim of letting all these excuses get to your head saying, oh, I don't know anyone who can let me borrow 10 to 20%. Poor me, I could never invest in real estate. No, that's nonsense. It's just an excuse. And if you genuinely believe that, if you're watching this video and you're thinking, you know what, I don't know anyone with that type of money, I think this is all BS, then I really recommend you don't even bother investing in real estate, because this business is not for people who make excuses. Finding deals is tough. So if you can't even get it through your head that you can find someone with 25 or 50 grand, then I promise you, you're not even gonna be skilled enough to go out there and find a deal. I'm telling you this to do you a favor. Don't waste your time watching all these videos if you really believe that you cannot find someone with 25 grand. I just gave you a couple of ways to do so. Facebook groups, masterminds, family and friends, co-workers, your boss. The list can go on ways that you can find people to let you borrow 10 to 20% to go buy your deal. And I really didn't mean to go off on a tangent. It's just because I happen to see that comment over and over again on people's videos where they talk about how to invest in real estate with no money down. So do yourself a favor, do not have that victim mentality. Go out there, go hustle, go find a deal, go find people who have money, go find someone you can JV with, go find a private lender if you happen to have access to people with that type of money. And if you don't, then go find someone who can let you borrow a little bit of money so that you can go utilize a hard money lender. And one more thing I'm gonna say, I'm 22 years old, and if I can find people to let me borrow hundreds of thousands of dollars, then you certainly can find someone to let you borrow 25 grand. So really, don't make any excuses. Go out there, go make some money in real estate. Give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below. Don't let any excuses ever get to your head. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I'll see you all next time. Thank you all for watching. I am out of here.